name is Emma, and today I am reviewing This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Before I get into this review, I have uploaded 2 really special videos concerning Victoria Schwab and her newest release, which is obviously This Savage Song. If you are interested in seeing either my footage from the Victoria Schwab signing event that I went to earlier this month for This Savage Song, which also includes like 20 minutes of full footage of just Victoria speaking and answering questions and just talking about her books and her writing. That video will be linked below, as well as a super special interview that I got to do with Victoria Schwab at that event. So if you're interested in either of those 2 videos, which do obviously have to do with This Savage Song and its amazing author, those are going to be linked in the description. I truly loved This Savage Song. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars and I just had the best time reading it. To give you a synopsis, This Savage Song takes place in a world that is overrun by monsters. Whenever a violent act is committed, another monster is born into this world to create more chaos. We follow Kate Harker, a girl who is drawn to the dangerous Verde City by pieces of her past, and we also follow August Flynn, who is one of these monsters, but he wants to be human. So This Savage Song follows the very interesting dynamic between these 2 contrasting characters as they traverse this city that is aimed to terrorize. Right off the bat, I was super enthralled by the plot of this series. I had found out that the inspiration for this book came from all of the mass shootings that were happening in this day and age, and I just think it's so wonderful that Victoria was able to create something from the darkness that constantly is surrounding us. But I mean, it's Victoria Schwab. She plays with darkness daily. It's kind of her thing. The concept of violence breeds violence, or evil breeds evil, was a fascinating idea for a novel in my opinion, because it holds true that violence does create more violence, but in this world the consequences are manifested in more physical or supernatural ways, which I think makes the story more terrifying. But to me, the nature of said consequences stay the same. It's just that Victoria is giving a name to the monstrous tendencies in humans, and I think that's really cool. The only thing that I can really find that I didn't like about this book is that I feel like there was a lot of info dumping in the beginning. This is a very complex plot that involves a lot of history, a lot of technicalities. The synopsis I gave you before doesn't really do the book justice because there's so much more to it. So while at parts it felt like I was reading buckets of information, but I needed the buckets of information, and had it been done differently, I think it would have been really confused. So I'm not that bothered by it because it really did pay off. So here I'm going to jump into spoilers just because there are so many great things to talk about within this book. If you haven't read This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, I would highly recommend it. So go out, do your thing, read the book, come back, and we can discuss it all together. So bye non-spoiler people! Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this book is that I really loved the writing. Victoria Schwab is one of those authors that grows as a writer with each new book's publication, and that's a development I love to watch as an avid reader. Despite the plot being super complex, the writing kept me interested the entire time. One of my friends, Michael from Michael Book Lion, was reading the book around the same time as me, and he said that he was a little confused at first, whereas I was so intoxicated by how everything was coming across that it was just so easy for me to jump into it, so I didn't really have time to be confused. There is a lot of fantastic dry humor in this book that I would not expect anything less from this author. Soon I are justice, soon I are balance, soon I are self-righteous and prone to speaking in third person. What's a Sunai's favorite food? Soul food. This book was just so in line with my sense of humor, and it was so satisfying. As for characters, I loved both of our protagonists equally. August is just so self-aware, and that's something I love reading about, especially in this sea of unbelievably annoying and stupid YA protagonists. As weird as this sounds, I am probably the most self-aware person that I know, and so I love being able to get into a character's head who's able to step back and examine their thoughts and actions in order to make sense of them like I always do. There's this really powerful scene where he says that he only feels human in moments of monstrosity, and he's wondering if this feeling of humanity is just an illusion to preserve the lives that he's taken. Or there's this really great quote from him that's like, you don't do everything that you can to prove that you're a good person just to have it thrown in your face that you're not even a person at all. The concept of a monster wanting to be human is thought-provoking enough, but the fact that he knows that he'll never be human and constantly berates himself for that was really interesting. Despite August being a monster, I do feel like I really identify with him, and you know, it's strange to see yourself in a monster, but I think that's kind of what Victoria had in mind, and so I just really loved reading about his character. August is just the definition of precious to me. This kid goes through so much internal conflict, and really I just want to shrink him down and keep him in my pocket and tell him nice things all day because he deserves it. I also absolutely absolutely adored Kate. She has the nerve and edge that I wish I had. I love how she's able to threaten others with such a blank face and doesn't let anyone get under her skin. She's this girl in your high school that walks around in all leather and high-heeled boots, strutting down the hallway, making eye contact with you like, I know you're staring at me and I'm reveling in your desire to be as cool as me. Maybe high schools don't have that girl and that's just who I wanted to be in high school. Anyways, I also think that Kate is just so unbelievably sharp and clever. The scene where Kate starts making the connections that August might be a monster was so impressive to me. Like how she realizes that August was trying to hide his face in photos and then makes the connection that Suna's eyes are black in photos, so she starts taking photos to prove her theory. That just proves how resourceful and quick thinking and clever she is. Kate Harker is just unreal to me. Like, she's so cool, she's so fierce, she's so smart, so fearless, and I just had so much fun reading about her character. She's just definitely going to be one of those characters that stick with me for a while. I feel like if we were ever to get a film adaptation of the Savage song, we would have to have a moment like Mean Girls, where everyone's just like, Kate Harker is flawless. She's the daughter of Hal Marker who protects the whole north side of Verity City. I hear her pendant's insured for $10,000. One time she punched me in the face. It was awesome. I really like the idea that each Sunai has a specific song that's tailored to each of them. Isla's theory that it correlates to the first beautiful sound they heard was just brilliant to me because they're born of such an ugly act. I think the Sunai are just very intricate beings. Like, every piece of information that we get about them is just so fascinating and I love learning about them. The line where Kate says, maybe you're made of stardust just like us, really warmed my heart. I feel like it was a really groundbreaking moment in their relationship, or I guess it's considered just a friendship. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. I'm pretty sure this book isn't a romance, and that really unsettles me. I feel like Victoria Schwab does this a lot because, for example, I just finished A Darker Shade of Magic, and so I'm sitting here thinking, is it blasphemous for me to ship Kel and Lila, or are they just so platonic that I'm looking for scraps of any nice moment to turn into something? I can't tell if Kate and August are being set up to fall in love. I honestly don't think it's going in that direction, but I don't think the book needs a romance. I think it's definitely strong enough without it. I just love their dynamic so much that I would be so ecstatic to see it turn into something more. So I'm gonna leave it as I ship them, but my world will survive if they just stay as friends. So then we get to the ending, which was just like so crazy. I loved the ending so much because it was just like one thing after another, after another, after another. Kate kills a man while August is hungry, and I'm just like, no! As soon as she did, I was just such a mess because I knew what was coming. That was like the scariest moment I have read in books in so long. I was so nervous something was gonna go terribly wrong, and then it did. August goes dark, which was really, really difficult to read. I don't know why I didn't see this coming, because obviously they put a lot of pressure on him having all of these marks and not wanting to go dark. I probably should have figured he would go dark by the end of it, but it came as a total surprise to me and I was not prepared. I honestly feel like I have blocked this scene from my mind. Like, I remember big plot points, like everything that happened with Leo and whatnot, but it's just like I was in such pain reading that because I knew how much it hurt August to go through that, and I don't even want to think about it, so we're gonna move on. But like, that was a thing that happened and it was crazy. I just want to protect him with every fiber of my being. Is that alright? I'm really glad that August still has Isla, at least. To think that he lost his brother and sister must have been excruciating for him, and I'm so glad he still has someone to hold on to. Obviously, Sloane and the Malkais were intentionally deceiving him by saying that she had her throat cut to make him think that she died, but she didn't. She's alive, but she can't sing. Singing was the way for Isla to steal souls, and so obviously from Leo we've learned that there are other ways for Sunai to feed, but how is Isla going to do that? Is there a possibility of her going dark from it? Can she not go dark because of this? There's just a lot of questions that I'm really excited to have answers for. So we reach the final points in the book. I'm really upset that Kate and August separated. I mean, I do understand why. It's just, I was really digging their dynamic, and I just hope we don't have to wait too long in our dark duet for them to be reunited. But with Kate leaving, that does give us the possibility of learning about life in the other territories. Like at the end of the book, Kate is listening to the newscaster on the car radio that's talking about a string of violent murders in the Prosperity region, and so we can possibly learn more about that. And so in the final scene, we follow the perspective of a woman who I believe we don't know. What we do know is she's looking for Kate, and she has found a Malkai named Alice. And now, as me and Michael were talking about this book, we've kind of concluded that this is probably the Malkai that Kate created when she killed the man in front of August, like I just talked about. That was really, really crazy. We think that was the shadow that was kind of roaming around the room after, because obviously when you kill someone, you create a Malkai. I have reread the scene quite a few times, and I still don't know where this is going, but I am very excited, I am very nervous, and I cannot wait for book 2. All in all, I loved this Savage song. It is definitely on my list of top favorites for the entire year so far. I just had so much fun reading it. It was so unique and individual, and I really loved this book. Leave me a comment on your thoughts on this Savage song by Victoria Schwab. I honestly haven't heard a negative review so far, which I think really says something, and it's a New York Times bestseller. So I hope you all loved it as much as I did, but that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!